I'm a director of V3. We're in partnership with Tourism Victoria, in fact all the state tourism bodies and Tourism Australia, in the creation of Tourism Exchange Australia. And I'll explain today what that is and why it's important to be online, and why it's worthwhile connecting to Tourism Exchange Australia. And I'll give you 8 points that you can take away from here that will actually change your business. The number one thing that I want you to remember about my presentation is I want you to connect to Tourism Exchange Australia. We've already got one of our clients here, and hopefully all you guys will come on board at some point, because Tourism Exchange Australia was created by all of the state tourism bodies to capitalise on the fact that the internet is where all the action is, and the fact that most, if not all, travel these days is preceded by searching on the internet, and the booking part of it. Whilst some people might say that they book offline, they start their search online. So you need to be a part of the whole online space to even really be on the page in terms of getting bookings. And if you remember when the kind of internet started to come out of the late 1990s and What If appeared, the internet was positioned, certainly in Australia anyway, as a last-minute, low-cost medium. That is, you know, it was a crisis sale. If you couldn't sell it, whack it on What If and away you go. Well, What If went to selling from 28 days out to 365 days. And the reason for that is that, lo and behold, when people are searching on the internet, they're starting their search for an outcome. If they're an international traveller, 6 months in advance, and if they're a domestic leisure traveller, 4 months in advance. So the whole notion of the internet being low cost, last minute is out the door. It's the primary tool that people are using now to search and book. And you will capture these people who are on the internet if you are displayed across a whole range of sites and you're bookable on them, and importantly that your own website is bookable, because you need to have a book button in front of your customers when they're ready to book. They might be ready to book on Visit Victoria, they might be ready to book on lakesentrance.com, they might be ready to book on Agoda, wherever it might be. It's just important that when they're ready, you're there to take their booking. And closing the loop on all that is your own website. Because in my discussions with Expedia, for example, they've told me that they lose 60% of the people that go to the Expedia site to the operator's own website. So what customers are increasingly doing, and you guys travel, you know from your own experience, what you do is you go onto these sites that have got a lot of listings, and you'll find the operator or the experience that you want to book on those big sites. You'll often come out of that and you'll go to the operator's own website to book. So it's really critical that you are able to fulfil that desire to book wherever the customer is ready to make that booking. So Tourism Exchange Australia is an alliance between all of the state tourism bodies and Tourism Australia and ourselves as a technology company. And the whole objective of Tourism Exchange Australia, TXA, is to get as many Australian tourism businesses bookable with e-commerce as possible. Because what that does, starting at the individual operator level, is it raises the profile of the operator. When the operator is online and visible, it raises the profile of the destination. When there's more operators online in a destination, it raises the profile of the state. And then obviously it cascades up to Australia's online visibility is better as well. So that's the objective of establishing the exchange. And what it means to you is that you can sell your products across virtually an unlimited number of distribution points, sales points, simultaneously. So it's all automated. And what the exchange does is it breaks the sort of back, and it has broken the back of the old wholesale model where that was the primary source of bookings, high cost, 25–30% commission. What the exchange does is it brings down the cost of distribution because it allows new entrants into the space. So it means you haven't got all your eggs in the one basket of, whether it's a wholesaler as it used to be 15–20 years ago, or an Expedia or a What If. It means you can now use a local distributor like lakesentrance.com, who is on the exchange and who was at our Lakes Entrance presentation today, or the local visitor centre, even though they're under pressure in their own right, or Visit Victoria. Destination sites, hyperlocal sites, sites that are serving niches in the sense that they're specific interest. We've got a new distributor coming onto Tourism Exchange Australia at the moment, based out of Victoria, who is targeting romantic getaways. It's called Loveness. And she is developing her own website. She's connecting to TXA to just look at capturing those who want to book a weekend away as a couple. The other thing the exchange does is it allows you to control your product and how it's described, your price, where it's presented, and the distribution cost that you're willing to take. It gives you back control, whereas years ago you didn't have control over that. Now, in translation, there should be shown over here the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse that Despina talked about, and our technology over there. But the coming together of those two components is Tourism Exchange Australia. The Tourism Data Warehouse is very rich in content, so it's all the listings, the videos, the facilities you've got, descriptions, images and what have you, and our technology makes that product bookable on whatever site is connected up to us. In its simplest form, it's represented here as this whole block is very sophisticated technology, but down here we hook into source systems. So they are electronic reservation systems, channel managers, wholesale systems. Anyone can participate in the exchange. So you've still got AOT sitting there as an important wholesaler, aggregator. But these are self-managed systems. Now they could be RMS that they use here, Room Master, it could be Update 247, SiteMinder, Res Online, channel managers, our own Frontdesk system, at the top end, Fidelio Opera. Any system can participate, and what we do is we hook into that and we extract out of that content, which is images and descriptions that you load in for your products and your business, rates and availability. And we push that up to virtually unlimited. We've got 200 distributors up on this end, ranging from the TripAdvisor style, Visit Victoria, Qantas Group Airlines, What If, Last Minute, and sitting here importantly is your own website. We see that as just another distribution channel, but it's critical and increasingly important in the overall mix. So what happens is a customer comes in through one of these, the booking they see the availability, rates and content, the booking goes back down into the system. So it's totally a seamless automated process. This is a pretty classic distribution curve. This end here is the 80% of bookings that come from the big channels. Now historically, Flight Centre, Expedia, Booking.com, those sort of guys have really, that's where they fish. Most of your bookings will come from them. But down here, this very long tail of small, many small distribution options is opened up by the exchange. Visit Victoria, your own site, media sites, sites that never existed 5 years ago are coming, and they will become increasingly important because there are a variety of sites that when they're aggregated together represent a significant opportunity for every tourism operator. And of course the exchange not only looks after Booking.com and What If and Expedia, but it also looks after Visit Victoria, powers Visit Victoria, and down to these microsites like lakesentrance.com. And it's a very easy process. The distributors, the old days of contracting with physical contracts and what have you are gone. With the exchange, every distributor loads their terms and conditions on the exchange, which include their commission, and you simply opt in or opt out, and that establishes the legal relationship between you and that distributor. And you can dynamically opt in, you see what their commission is, you see what they are, and you can really sort of directly control where your product is shown and at what price it's sold. So what the exchange gives you is it can give you online bookings through your own website. It gives you a single connection to a whole range of different distribution options that you would never be able to access without this technology. We introduced a new payment system which totally inverted the way things used to be done. Things used to be all paid to a third party and you'd have to wait for your funds. We introduced a really smart system we call it direct to provider, where we facilitate the customer booking directly with you. The funds go directly into your bank account at time of booking, so you're cash positive from the point of booking and you hold the funds, because we philosophically believe whoever provides the service should hold the customer's funds. We don't think it's right that someone else holds that until 30, 60 days after the customer has stayed. We do allow for online travel agents and their model because they're so important to the overall industry, but we really want to see more of this direct-to-provider payment. We settle any commissions automatically, all backed up with tax invoices, so you don't have to worry about anything, you don't have to worry about invoicing, that sort of, it's all done for you. It's all based on live inventory, dynamic opt-in and opt-out, and you get full management reports of where every booking comes from, and a really good perspective on your business. For all that, we charge a 2.8% including GST fee, which is when we negotiated, we won a global contract for this task. We negotiated with the states, and we thought the very best way to encourage more participation was to have it as purely a success fee. So you only pay when you get an online booking through TXA. It's the fairest way. Now, the way TXA works in different scenarios is, for example, Agoda, which charges a 12% commission, which we negotiated as a particular deal for TXA. TripAdvisor, which charges a listing fee at 0%. The visitor centres can range from 5% to 12% according to which technology they use. Regional bodies like lakesentrance.com are generally low commission at about 5 to 7%, and Visit Victoria 0%. TXA charges its fee for facilitating those bookings through whatever channel you choose to use. So, what it means to you is, when you're connected to TXA, it boosts your online profile, which is good for you in terms of bookings through your own website, where you wind up in a Google search, because there's a lot of you out and about in the internet. We've got booking pages that are optimised for conversion, and they're consistent. They provide a consistent customer experience. Whether your property and booking pages are seen on lakesentrance.com, Visit Victoria, or your own website, it's the same booking experience, which I'll show you in a minute. It's a single source, so you don't have to update a whole stack of different things. It's through one input, one source, fully automated back end. That payment process where you're cash positive from the time of booking, and we are all inclusive in terms of accommodation from a single holiday house up to a big property. Tours, attractions and events are a part of it as well. So you can see it's a big overarching umbrella over the entire Australian tourism industry. Now, if you don't have a system, the one thing that you need to do to participate in TXA is you've got to have an electronic system, because we need to hook in to something to extract that information out of your business. If you don't have a system, we, as part of our mandate in creating TXA, we created Frontdesk, which we've got a Frontdesk user here tonight, and that's quite a sophisticated property management system. It's also available for tours, attractions and events as well, and it's there really to allow everyone deep down into the industry and right across the spectrum to participate in this. What it does, it's a full business management system. It allows live bookings from your own website and through the websites you choose. We provide you with mobile booking capability, so that if someone comes to your website or your book button using a mobile device, it will sense that it's a mobile and it will present the right booking pages for that. There's obviously an array of websites and VICs that you can opt into. You can have a book button on Facebook, you can have a book button on TripAdvisor. It's all there for you to actually choose if you want to use that. I won't go into great detail about the actual features of it, but it's a sophisticated system that allows a whole lot of different pricing rules. So you might be interested in variable rates, different days of the week, on the weekend, discounts for longer stays, 3-night or 2-night minimums, extra person pricing, whole stack of reports, an inbuilt customer relationship system, so that every booking, the customer details are recorded, so you can outbound to them if you want to email them, and free software upgrades forever. The cost of Frontdesk is 3.2%, including GST, on top of the TXA fee. So we've really gone down the path of making it a no-risk investment in the sense that it's success-based, offline bookings are free, it's focused on the online space. And you've got the money, in most cases, 100% upfront payment, generally direct to your bank, so you're cash positive all the way through. So the distribution channels charge their own fee for what their marketing of you. These fees are for the services that are provided behind the scenes. As part of that, we provide a whole stack of free stuff, a design a book button, a micro website, booking pages, free upgrades forever, free installation, setup training, yield assistance, regular product reviews, and help desk and customer service. Now, I'll just briefly dwell on this direct to provide a payment. I'll explain how it works. We'll use lakesentrance.com, which is a TXA connected distributor just for this area. So the customer might come through, let's say lakesentrance.com. When they book, all we're doing, when I say all, is we're saying, okay, they come through that window, the booking goes directly to you. You're dealing with the customer as the merchant in the transaction. The funds go from their credit card straight into your bank account at the time of booking, and they sit there until the following month. So you've got that money in your bank account, you're in control of it. The month after that, you get a tax invoice that says you had 5 bookings from lakesentrance.com worth $1,000, and we settle that back to them by a direct debit out of that bank account and direct credit to them. A very efficient automated system. That's how the booking pages look, whether it's Visit Victoria, lakesentrance.com or your own website, optimised for conversion. Now I've got 5 minutes to tell you 8 things that you should do now to improve your business. Connect to TXA because it'll give you visibility and opt into those TXA channels. Get Googled, make sure that you can use Google effectively to optimise your business. Because as Despina said, content is everything. You need to create compelling content. Images, videos, the writing of your descriptions, as Despina I think would have said, tell a story about your product. I've seen so many situations where there's images of a provider showing their business, and all it is just a shot of the house. That's not what customers want to see. They want to see something that engages with them. Engage with TripAdvisor actively, and there's ups and downs. I heard the conversation on TripAdvisor before, but engage with them actively, because whether you engage with them or not, TripAdvisor is used by your customers, and you have to respond to everything that goes into TripAdvisor. With social media, don't be daunted by what Despina's been through. Start to understand it. Just approach it slowly until you're confident with it, but you have to start understanding how it's going to fit into your marketing, and know your customer. When you're writing stuff, or when you're following up to a review, think from the customer's perspective. Do not think from your perspective. Do not write things where you're so proud of your property that you're writing it from your perspective. Always put yourself in the head of your customer and review what you've written, thinking, is this what my customer is thinking, or is this what my customer wants? Because if you don't do that, you're not going to optimise what you get out of it. And start addressing mobile. I've got a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to run through. Google. Everyone understand what SEM is? Search engine marketing. This is paid for. This is paid for. This is where the rubber hits the road for you in terms of search engine optimization. You need to be on page 1 somehow by writing compelling content, the links that Despina mentioned in the social media. Just try to push to get onto page 1 of Google. These guys will always be here, but there's an opportunity for you to be on page 1 if you're addressing the right issues. Social media is not a fad, it's around to stay. You've got to engage with it. YouTube is the greatest service that anyone has ever provided. You can take videos on your smartphone, your video machine, your video recorder, and whack it up to YouTube, and it's there for you to put links into your website. And Google, in terms of SEO and all those sort of where you appear on Google, because Google owns YouTube, Google loves video. So take video. It doesn't matter if it's crap. It doesn't matter if it's out of you're walking down the street and you see the dolphins in the lakes or whatever. Whack it up there. all it's going to do is be positive for you. Why TripAdvisor? And there's two things: 90% trust peer recommendations, 14% trust advertising. That's why all the money is moving into, in terms of promotion, into TripAdvisor and Google. What I can tell you is that TripAdvisor are about to launch the capability. Now they've had this show prices panel. Does everyone know about that? Okay, the show prices panel is effectively where all these online travel agents capture all your customers that are going to TripAdvisor to look at what your property is. Your customers think they're booking directly with you when they hit that show prices panel. But historically that's been going into Expedia and what have you. It's the biggest single way of capturing leads. What TripAdvisor have done is they've allowed you to be actually in this space as well. So this here, for example, allows you to capture a direct booking from TripAdvisor. TXA can give you that connection, so you can participate in that. Facebook, we've been through that, so I won't dwell on it. Social media, a couple of tips on that. It's about the customer, it's not about you, social media. Start small, like with one thing, and build from there. Go where your customers are, which probably will be Facebook or Instagram, but don't try and cover everything. Use it to develop compelling content. By compelling content, I mean stuff that's well written. You don't have to be a copywriter genius to do it, but just think in the mind of your customer and create compelling images, stories, and that sort of thing. That will draw your customers in. Set yourself some very simple objectives and work towards them. Listen to what's happening in that social medium first. Be super personal. Don't use corporate jargon or anything like that. Use the local language. Test and change, because you'll get it wrong. Don't be afraid of getting it wrong. When you do get it wrong, just change it. And only do what you can do well. Don't try and do something you can't do and do it badly. You're better off just sticking at something and keeping at it and getting it on track. And social media is not a one-night stand. It's like your website. If you go onto a social medium and do one thing and leave it there, it's a waste of your time. You have to constantly be updating it. It's like your own website. You can't leave it there. Why mobile? Because there's 15 million smartphones in Australia. Australians are early adopters of mobile and any technology, in fact. There's going to be 15 million digital tablets that are in the marketplace by the end of this decade. So you have to address mobile. More and more what we find is through the exchange, people are visiting, and funnily enough, particularly tours, with mobile devices. Because it's important to understand the whole experience in mobile is so different to web. On the web, we design industry best booking pages, which is one page. The customer goes on one page, does everything from entering their details to payment. On mobile, it's over about 4 or 5 pages because of the size of the screen. We've allowed you to put all your compelling content on there so that it operates actually as a mobile microsite. But you really do need to address and start coming to terms with the fact that mobile is going to replace the web-based visits, in the next 5 years.